Hi there, my name is Wendy Aldaman, and I am the owner of Career Elevation, a dental specific recruiting company that works alongside dental practices to help get their next team member placed. Today, I want to talk to you about what makes or breaks an interview. How can you really stand out? How can you really excel in your interview going forward? So, I got this question from a dear friend of mine. Her name is Chris. And I love questions like this because it really helps me to know what you want to learn going forward to be able to ace your interview. So take this information. If you have more questions about interviewing, the process of it, working with us, whatever kind of questions you've got, put it in the comments below so that I can better help you ace your next interview. So she is basically asking from a recruiter standpoint, what do we look for so that we know, yes, this candidate's going to move along. They're probably going to be one of the finalists for the offices that they are going to pick. Does it work with body language? Like, how much effect does body language or eye contact really come in play? Does it affect the interview? What about first impressions? How do you make the best first impression? And what actually makes the candidate stand out? So I'll address all of these things within this video. Body language is super important. If you are kind of slumped over and you're just kind of, I mean, even when I just slump over like this, I just don't feel as confident. When you have your shoulders back and you feel very confident, and I know that's really hard because going into an interview, it's not always fun. It's sometimes really stressful, but just remember, they're human too. They have been in your shoes. They can understand if it's a little scary for you, but do your best to feel confident, to show your best personality going forward when you're meeting with them. So body language is super important. If you are standing and you come into a room, you're just kind of standing chatting, think about the fact that if you are standing there and your feet and their feet are kind of pointed at each other, essentially, that means you are fully engaged in the conversation. If you have one foot towards the person and one foot towards the door, the body language just reads that you want to leave towards the door. Your feet are towards the door. You're ready to exit this conversation, and you no longer want to talk to that person. Whether you mean that or not, that is something that is just kind of subconscious for a lot of people, that they're kind of paying attention to that. So keep that in mind. Eye contact is also very important. I know there's a lot of people who are not super great with eye contact. Just try your best. That's all that I ask. Just try your best. And I know that's another thing that's really difficult, but if you can stare at the center of their forehead versus actually looking in their eyes, they'll never know the difference. I'll tell you that. And if you have good eye contact with them versus just like talking and you're just kind of looking off into space, I know that sometimes this really helps us to think, but it doesn't help you to connect to that person. When you're looking straight into their eyes, you are connecting to that person on a little bit of a deeper and better playing field, if you will. What would I say makes a candidate stand out? I think to me, when a candidate stands out is when they've done research. So if I'm interviewing a candidate and you're going through a recruiter, for example, when somebody says, Wendy, I've gone to your website, I've watched your YouTube videos, I have looked at your social media, any or all of those things are super impressive to me because it shows me that you took the time. You are not just applying to any and all positions. You are applying to this position. You are excited about this position. And this position means a lot to you versus just it's another job. Now, I get that there's kind of a weird dynamic within the world right now where a lot of people don't really want to work. They don't want to take on that extra load, that extra task. I get it. Totally understand. We're all kind of in that weird little funk right now, but we just kind of have to get out of it if we want to have a career. And it's hard to say that. I don't enjoy saying that, I will tell you. But it is something that we all kind of are aware of and kind of have to be aware of. So when you as the candidate take the extra step to look at the office's website, their reviews, their Facebook pages, if you see that they are not very active on their social media, for example, then I would, if you are in a management position, for example, or a leadership position, I would recommend, hey, I did notice that if I do get this position, what I think I might be able to offer for you is maybe increasing your social media. And with increasing your social media, that may allow you to be able to bring in more patients, to get more patient interaction, and for the patients to feel more connected to this practice, to become more loyal. That's just one example that you could bring forward to the practice, and that allows the practice to think, wow, she did her homework, or he did their homework to really figure out, how can I do a better job for this practice. You can also look at their Google reviews. If they have bad Google reviews, clearly you probably don't really want to work with them. Tell them if you want to cancel the interview. It is so much more important to cancel the interview versus just no showing. And I tell you why. There are a lot of dentists who are in text message groups, Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, where they're all chatting, they're all communicating. And I've heard from multiple different groups that they'll say this person is like blacklisted. This person is not going forward with any of those dentists. So if you no show to one, essentially that's no showing to all of them. Because you have to have that professionalism to really be able to what is your next step? You just have to tell them, no, thank you, I'm no longer interested in this position, versus potentially being on the no thank you list for maybe 20, 50, 100 dentists, depending on how many people are in that group. So keep that in mind. So anyways, if you go and you look at their Google reviews, and their Google reviews are really high, obviously that's fantastic. If you read them individually and you see the person named Sarah is a hygienist, you can tell that from the review. Sarah. Well, what does that show you? That shows you that Sarah has really great patient communication, and she's asking her patients to leave a review. Maybe she's not even asking to leave a review, but that is, something kind of that they're leaning on, is Sarah is a really great team member. So ask, am I going to be able to meet Sarah today? I saw there was a ton of reviews. Is she at the practice today? Or when I get to meet her? That's another fantastic thing, is that you've read through the review. You're paying attention. Versus if you come into an interview, think about this here. So you see that I'm confident, I am speaking well, I'm looking into the camera, I'm looking at you essentially. My direction is straight towards you. Now, see this, okay? This is a complete shift. Looking away a little bit, I'm slouched. I am more comfortable, but less professional, I should say. Let's say I'm in an interview and the office says, why are you interested in working here? Well, I really love being a dental assistant, and I think that I could bring a lot to your practice. I think I could really help your patients to feel more comfortable. Yeah, that's about it. If the office then asks, what kind of questions do you have for our practice? Me responding back as a candidate, if I say something along the lines of, well, could you tell me about your benefits again? What benefits do you offer? See, those are all things that have already been discussed. Most likely, if they haven't been discussed, then this is a perfect opportunity for you to ask them. It would also be fantastic if you had a Padfolio, if you have your resume printed off so that you could give to the practice. If you bring your own pen and your own paper. I have a friend of mine who is a hiring manager, and she has told me before that if a candidate comes with no pen, no paper, she already knows that she's basically cutting the interview in half, unless the person is really fantastic. If they're an elite candidate, then she will still continue with them. The reason being to bring a pen and a paper, obviously paper for questions, but a pen is if they ask you to fill out an application and you don't have a pen, you have to ask for a pen. That was her red flag, is that you didn't care enough to be prepared to come to the interview. So keep that in mind. I think having the resume in paper is just another nice thing. What I personally recommend to any of my coaching clients that I'm helping to get them into a business is I will tell them, have your cover letter printed, your resume, and any references that you've already made contact with. You've already told them, hey, just want to let you know, you'll probably be getting some calls over the next few weeks, and basically be aware of that. Be ready for those phone calls, and please say nice things, obviously. So have those 3 things printed off. I personally will tell candidates to have that in a folder. So all you have to do is say, here you go. Here's a folder with all of the information in it, and they don't have to, if they don't want it, that's okay. But it's in your Padfolio so that you are prepared. You are the most prepared that you possibly can be. Let me see what other kind of things that she was asking me, what my friend Chris was asking me, what we might want to talk about. I think those are the main things, but the first impression is super important. Another thing that I wanted to kind of address, and then we'll be all done for this, is if you see something, say something. So, for example, if you've gone through their website and you see errors on their website, there's obviously going to be an appropriate time for that. But tell them that there's errors on their website. If you see a piece of trash on the floor in the reception area, in the lab area, depending on if it's like, got gross stuff on it, if it's got germs on it, like medical waste, basically, don't pick up medical waste. But if you see like just a coffee cup, for example, and you pick it up, you say, I saw this outside your door. I wanted to make sure that I threw it away so that it reflects better on your practice that you don't have any trash out there. Where can I throw this away? That's super important. And there are some interviews, some offices, some hiring managers that will literally put trash on the floor for this exact reason. So they see how invested in this practice are you. You're not even employed. Yes, that's absolutely agreeable. You're not even employed, but what are you going to do? How are you going to act if you saw trash going into the practice? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to leave it there? Are you going to take care of it? Is the doctor going to be the one to take care of it? Is the janitor going to be the one to take care of it? Keep all of those things in mind. So just do your best. Say something if you see something, and that's another great kind of thought to wrap into this. So if you've got questions for me, I would love to answer them for you. Please drop it in the comments below. I will address it in another video, or I might even have a video that I've already done. So make sure that you double check those too. I hope you have a great rest of your day and keep up the good work. Talk to you soon.